checking in again on May 10th, 2012. It's a gorgeous day today here in Warsaw, and my local expert Agnieszka is going to fill us in a little bit about the Warsaw Uprising.
So Warsaw Uprising started on the 1st of August 1944, and it was planned by the Home Army, so by the Polish Underground Army, for 5 or 6 days. But then the decision was made to start it when the Soviet army was approaching banks of the river. They were across the river from the central part of the city. Those who were taking part in the uprising, those were usually young people, very young ones, teenagers in their early 20s. And the uprising officially started at 5 o'clock. They call it a W hour. And since then the fight started. Those were not soldiers, were trained soldiers. You can see on the pictures young faces, smiling faces, people not wearing really uniforms, not very properly equipped, but very tired with the wartime. They're tired with the Nazi occupation and really believing that the uprising can bring the freedom. It was not exactly this way how they planned. There was no Soviet support in the central part of the city. The uprising lasted for 63 days, and it was the time during which 200,000 people were killed. It was the time when the city was leveled. It was under bombardment. Buildings were set on fire. And this was the time when city was dying for 63 days. After that, when the uprising was over, all the inhabitants of Warsaw were taken out of the city by Nazis. They were placed in the transition camps. They were placed in the labor camps, and the city was left empty. It was around 10,000, up to 2,000 people who were staying in the cities. They called them Robinsons, and then people started to come back in January of 1945.
I just wanted to point out the significance of this poster here.
This one says, "What the hell? We've got a fire from both river banks." It's because on one bank of the river, it was where the Nazis were. This was where the Nazis were staying, and the other side across, it was the part which was occupied by Soviets. So it might show that there was no help from the south.
And we are here at the Museum of the Warsaw Uprising.
Exactly. This is the museum that was quite recently opened. It was opened in 2004 for the 60th anniversary of the uprising, and it's an important museum because there was no such a commemoration of rising till this time. It's a museum which is still developing. It's a museum which attracts young people who love the history, who are from Warsaw, whose parents were fighting, grandparents were fighting, and this is also a very interactive museum. So this is the museum that shows the movies from this time, that shows, you can really see and almost feel
the history.
Those times in this museum.
And I just wanted to point out the wall here, which holds many thousands of names of people that partook in the Warsaw Uprising, right?
Those who were in the army, because again we remember the civilians who decided to join, who decided not to leave the city but stay in here, and also they dedicated their lives.
And as a retaliation for the Warsaw Uprising, the Nazis decided to basically destroy all of Warsaw.
The whole city was under bombardment. It was set on fire. The buildings were blown up on purpose. The districts were surrounded district by district, and the civilians were killed without regardless the age of sex and sex as well. So it was civilians who also were just killed.
Another part of the sad history of Poland.